got no idea what you're about to see. There's hardly any of Trump's picks that are making the Democrats more nervous than Pam Bondi, and the line of questioning that we saw from CNN's Jake Tapper to Senator Katie Britt communicates that perfectly. But I need to give you the broader context that the mainstream media is completely leaving out, so watch this exchange before we dive in.
You're on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi will testify before your committee later this week. You have said she has your support and she will help restore the Department of Justice to become one, quote, driven by blind justice, not blind partisan politics, unquote. We should note, as a member of Trump's legal team in 2020, she falsely claimed that Trump had won Pennsylvania, which he had not. She spread baseless claims about widespread cheating by Democrats, about fake ballots. That is partisan politics, what she said in 2020. That is not justice.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, look at what's happened under the Biden administration. We have people in these offices who have chosen to go after American citizens, who have chosen to weaponize the justice system in a number of ways. When I talked with Pam Bondi, she committed to me to getting back to doing the job of the people, to getting back to doing what the department was created to do. So whether we're talking about the AG, whether we're talking about the FBI, whether they're talking about the Department of Defense, people want these agencies, these departments to actually work for the American people. Pam is committed to that. I think you will see that. What President Trump has done is he has selected people who are willing to not move as business as usual, but yet are ready for action. They understand his vision for the nation. They understand the mandate that was given on November 5th, and they understand that time for talk is gone and time for results and action is now. And so I think people are actually sick of the weaponization. We had this conversation. We talked about politics not being part of the process of what you do in the department. She is committed to that, and I think she's going to do an excellent job of returning the department to the work of the American people. And I am excited for her hearing. I'm certainly excited. It'll be my very first hearing as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. We've got a lot of great nominees on the Hill this week, and they'll have the opportunity not only to make their case to those on that committee, Jake, but they'll have their opportunity to make their case to the American people of why they are best suited to move President Trump's agenda forward.
You know what I gleaned from this answer? It's that this is probably the only way to walk a thin line while also making sure that you don't give more ammo to your opponent with someone like Jake Tapper. And by the way, I don't want you to miss out on any of these really important discussions that we have every day, so please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to always stay in the loop. Now, here's the deal. When it comes to Donald Trump claims of election fraud, you can go back 4 years and realize that Pam Bondi was still a much milder and more moderate advocate for Trump's allegations, and that's far behind people like Sidney Powell or Rudy Giuliani. And given that Pam Bondi was also part of the close-knit legal team for Donald Trump 4 years ago for both his claims of election fraud and his impeachment trial, she understood that there was a legal line to balance. And why do people like Jake Tapper fail to realize one simple concept? It's that back then, the question of whether any alleged election interference had happened was still unsettled before it went to the courts. And after the courts across the country struck down all such case filings before they even went to a formal trial, Pam Bondi has been a lot more silent on Donald Trump's claims than even Trump would like. And that's why it's so important to put those statements in the context of their time, unlike what Jake Tapper does here.
But why would you think somebody who's willing to lie about the election results in Pennsylvania is going to restore integrity in the Justice Department the way that you are calling for?
Look, Jake, I've had very direct conversations with each and every one of these nominees that I've had the opportunity to sit down with. I take my duty as a United States Senator seriously. Article 2, Section 2 mandates that I do. We have an obligation both to the American people and to the president to ask these tough questions. I ask that question very directly. And with each and every nominee, the answers that I have been given with them has satisfied me that they're going to move forward in that direction. So I'm sure she'll have an opportunity to answer this in front of the American people. But the answer she has given me, most definitely, she is not only qualified, but she's ready to move forward in a way that the American people deserve.
Wait, what? Was Jake Tapper here just talking about trust in the U.S. Justice Department? Has he been living under a rock for the past 4 years? Considering the perception of the DOJ over the Biden administration, and Merrick Garland, it's no wonder that more than 2/3 of Americans believe the departments of DOJ and the FBI have become politically motivated in the United States. According to a poll from Rasmussen from 2023, the damage in reputation is already done, and there's no way to create some kind of moral high ground for a party which at best is no better than Donald Trump. And also, since we just had the Senate confirmation hearing for Pam Bondi after this interview, I think it's also worth listening to this standout moment from the hearing when Adam Schiff tried to corner her over this same old question once again, leading to a heated exchange.
Let me ask you a different question. It also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I won't do it.
I'm just asking you a simple question.
Won't play
if you can speak truth
with any ongoing
to power.
investigation,
so let me ask you another.
Like you did leaking your colleague Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one. Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election, yes or no?
Senator, I'm glad you asked that question, if you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania.
I know you want to answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election, yes or no? Was there or was there not?
I can tell you what I saw when I went as an advocate to the campaign.
That's not my question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president.
Maybe easy for him, but for someone like Pam Bondi, she knows this is the worst time to open a new Pandora's box by simply accepting the presuppositions that are baked into Adam Schiff's question. Not just that, given that Pam Bondi isn't even going to engage in a gotcha question like that, perhaps she realizes that this is a matter that will always remain up in the air, because Donald Trump's claims of election fraud never really went to a full trial before they were discarded. And now they're just hovering in the air like a sword that Democrats like Adam Schiff can conveniently use as a cheap talking point like this. Now, to Britt's credit, she was one of the voices during the hearing that understood how futile this kind of hostility to Pam Bondi really was.
Thank you so much for being here today, and really glad to see your family. I had the opportunity to help them find where to come back in.
Thank you, Senator.
They are all so excited, and rightfully so, and so proud of who you are and the work that you've done. And speaking of, I think it is absolutely, completely ridiculous that anyone on the other side of the aisle would ever say that you were anything but immensely qualified for this job. From your time as a career prosecutor to then a two-time Attorney General of the third largest state with regards to all of the people that operated underneath you, with what you were able to achieve. It is truly remarkable. The United States of America could only be so fortunate if you were confirmed and to have someone of your caliber, of your intellect, and of your experience running a department that unfortunately has been run into the ground. So I think that that is full-on gaslighting, which, by the way, I had to get my children to explain to me what that was.
That's certainly a welcome departure for Pam Bondi from a hearing that was otherwise so laden with gotcha questions and verbal traps. Right now, Pam Bondi looks ready to sail through to confirmation, even though a formal vote has not yet happened. But it's certainly true that as the new Attorney General, she could add a degree of flair and gravitas to the Trump administration that Donald Trump could certainly make use of. Let me know in the comments if you agree, and share this video across your social media to get the word out. I think these are questions that will start to answer themselves very quickly in the first few weeks of Donald Trump's presidency.